Hello, everyone, and happy summer for us. I guess happy winter for you, Vicky.
Right, it's the beginning of winter.
Yes,
right.
Jingle bells, jingle bells. I guess you don't sing jingle bells in your winter.
No, not on this time of year.
No. Is there any big holiday, like winter holiday for you that you would celebrate?
No, there's none. But today, our original people celebrates the Wetripantu, which is the new year for them.
Oh,
that's when they started their new year.
Oh, interesting.
It's a Mapuche celebration.
Mapuche. Okay, that's
from the Mapuches. That's our main original people.
Your originary. Yeah. Now, are they? Here I'm showing totally now. So for those who are new, Vicky lives in Chile, down in South America. So that's why we're talking winter for her, because I'm in Canada, up here in North America, and it is summer for me. But it's it's very many of our listeners are either Northern American or European. So it's very cool to have people from the southern continent. So our friends in Australia and New Zealand would also be happy winter to you folks as well.
Yes.
So I'm just curious about Now, those regional people, are they related to Mayans or Aztecs, or is it a totally different?
A totally different kind of people. Yeah.
Okay.
They were closer to the Incas.
Incas. Oh, interesting.
The Incas were located from, I don't know, from Central America to Chile. They're mainly Peruvian.
Oh, okay.
The Incas.
Oh, interesting. Very cool stuff. We do have a third co-host who's going to be joining us at some point. Betsy is having some technical difficulties with her sound, so she's been logging in and out trying to find the right sound device that will let her hear us and let us hear her as well. So she will be joining us shortly once she gets that worked out. In the meantime, we're vamping a little bit. We should say hi to everyone who is joining us live, and also those who are watching us after the fact. Welcome to you as well. John Tyner has checked in, but he is at a party for his father's 90th birthday, so that's very cool. So I hope you enjoy that.
Wow.
And fellow Canadian Rick Cleland suggested that he have a Guinness or 3 on him. So John will be stumbling home if he has 3. Well, maybe he won't. I would be stumbling. I don't think I could get through 1.5 Guinness without stumbling. So John may have worked up the resistance. I don't know. Haviland Jester is here. Is here. D. Spencer, Judy Stutz. How are you doing, Judy? When we do here's a sneak preview. When we do the WikiTree challenge reveal on Thursday for Diane Southern's week that just finished. Fantastic week. People who worked on that WikiTree challenge did an amazing job. Her CC7 is over 2,500 now, believe it or not. It's amazing. But Judy Stutz is the big winner because she went from being a distance of something like 51 apart down to 21. I think her connection to Diane decreased by 30 degrees.
Wow.
Mine actually, I was second place. Mine decreased by 26 degrees, so I was very excited. And I thought, when I saw that, I thought, well, for sure I'm the winner. But no, Judy beat me.
Amazing.
But we're all winners, so, and WikiTree is the winner too. Ozzy is here. How you doing, Ozzy? And happy winter to you as well. Vic Thor, happy time zone. Vic, I must confess, I stole your tagline there when I sent emails out to the WikiTree challenge people. I greeted them with happy time zone, though I think I capitalized it differently. I did a small T and a capital Z. Oh well. And Fior one of our WikiTree challenge workers, and Chris Friolo chased down a bunch of Italian leads. during that. So Susie Carta, how you doing? Good to have you here as well. Also working on that. Willem is here. Murray Maloney, how you doing from Collingwood? He puts the I was going to say the American, the Fahrenheit degrees, 72. It's comfy. It was cooler this morning for our morning walk, but it's warmed up a bit. Tia, Veg Beauty is here. Lisa Gervais, how you doing, Lisa?
Hey,
Denise,
Lisa.
how you doing, Denise? Jarrett from Columbus, Ohio. It's hot today. I think we're heading for a heat wave, if what I've seen is correct. So Hillary Gatsby from Wales. And I think that's everyone. And if there are more, hello to you. And again, hello to everyone online. Betsy, can you hear us?
I can. And you were right. Yes, somehow my computer got hooked into my earbuds, which are down the hall.
I was thinking that's happened to me before. It's really hard to diagnose that because you think, like, what the heck? There's nowhere. Where else could they be connected?
Yeah, and I did not make that change. It was one of those automatic things.
Yes.
So here I am.
Yay! So glad you're here. Excellent.
Great. And it's a good thing that you did say, Greg, sorry. Greg, you said that I'm in Chile because Willem says it's his first time here. He's from the Netherlands. And
nice.
he was correcting and he said, hey, winter starts in December. Well, that's why we're a global community, Willem. So
yes,
welcome.
That's one of the exciting things. Yes, and welcome, Willem. If this is your first time, we have a very strong Netherlands team and a lot of WikiTreeers. So you'll have lots of people to hang out with and work on projects with. So hope you enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had Nikki a few weeks ago. Who's from the Netherlands, right? As a guest. Yeah. And will we hear Betsy today playing the flute?
Oh.
What?
You know, the clip that you sent me.
Yes, yeah.
I couldn't get it to work because I had to do something with Chrome, which I hadn't pre-done. So I didn't get that to work. Unfortunately, now that you mention it, I don't know if I've changed the setting or not.
So, I don't know, like it would work. So I did listen to most of last week's roundup. My priority,
it was right at the very end.
Right. My priority was to hear what Eowyn had covered so that I can, make sure that I dovetail this week. So I didn't hear whether you got it to work, and I don't know. I don't know if it'll work if I play it on mine, but we could try.
Well, we can try that.
Yes, I was looking forward to it.
And I picked Danzon by Marquez. So it's a very peppy and dreamy Latin piece that we had a blast playing.
Oh yeah, it was great.
All right. Well, during the profiles, your profiles, Greg, I'll see if I can cue that up.
Okay then, super.
Great.
Good. Excellent. Okay, so as Betsy's just arrived, and we haven't had who wants to go first today?
I can go first.
Okay.
Our member of the week didn't answer my invitation. I'm sorry, but we'll review her interview anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry she couldn't be with us.
Dot, right?
Dot. Right.
Yes.
Oops. There she is. She's Dot Tribble. Is that Tribble? Mm-hmm. And Dot is a really important member for what's going on this week because Dot, she's been a wiki genealogist for 4 years now. Almost 4 years, and she's an active member of the U.S. Black Heritage Project. She started the Nicodemus on Kansas One Place study last month, and she's really passionate about that. She started, she got interested in genealogy when she found someone that was renting pasture land from his father. he had the same surname as his grandfather. So she was curious. People, please be curious, because we can open doors with that. And she asked if they were related. And this person that she never knew brought her a copy of a 1917 manuscript on the family, and she could trace her ancestry back to the immigrant ancestors and the Revolutionary War, she says. And then she was hooked. She says there's no life outside of genealogy, so no hobbies. She says, "Is there a life beyond genealogy?" And she's focused. She does a really generous work because she started finding her paternal and maternal ancestors, but then she discovered that her ancestors had owned slaves. So she felt the need to help their descendants, the slaves' descendants, to find their ancestors. And she started to research and posting on websites, but she didn't have any success with that until she found WikiTree, and she found the U.S. Black Heritage Project. So she knew that was that was what she needed. So this was she says she was introduced to Davis Bend in Warren County, Mississippi, and the slaves that had been the property of Joseph Davis, brother of Jefferson Davis.
Okay.
And those slaves were responsible for the founding of Mount Bayou in Bolivar County, Mississippi, the county where she was born. And that's important because she was working on the Mount Bayou One Place Study, and then she began the Nicodemus One Place Study. And she says they need people because there are no team members for Kansas. So she says, please, if you can help with this, join this project. She says her favorite discovery after researching her Woodruff ancestors, her highlight was standing in the courthouse of the county where her ancestors lived and holding a document with his actual signature from 1779. Wow, that's quite an accomplishment. And well, I like to highlight. Well, she really does a labor of love, which had his its fruits. You know, the Mount Bayou One Place Study has been a labor of love, she says, and enabled the Mississippi team to help connect over 1,500 people to Mount Bayou and its founders. That's amazing. That's what we do on WikiTree. And she needs more people to work on the Nicodemus One Place Study. So please volunteer for that if you feel it like. She says, well, she's really grateful for the community on WikiTree. And I want to read it because it's so beautiful what she says. She says, I cannot begin to say enough about the community WikiTree brings to bear. From the path gurus who taught me the right way to build a profile, to the transcribers who offer their time deciphering difficult to read documents, to the myriad of expertise wielded by the entire group of people who make up WikiTree and the Black Heritage Project in particular. This is so important because that's what everyone who comes close to WikiTree will find. You will find expertise, you will find help, you will find friends. So this is something really important to highlight. And she says, I've never been made to feel small or ignorant when asking questions, even when some of them resulted in the epiphany on my part, she says. So thank you for that funny thing, that funny phrase. So thank you, Dot, for all your generous work on WikiTree and for the US Black Heritage Project. And I hope you find the help that you need for Nicodemus. they need people to work on Kansas.
Mm.
So that's what do you know Dot? Have you worked with her?
No.
With her? No? Well,
it's great to
Sounds
get her through the interview.
Mhm.
yeah. Well, I'll show you the profile makeover
Super.
now, and I have some surprises.
Oh wow,
Because
that's very
we're
bare bones.
we're focused. This is a special profile makeover because we're focused on notables. These are notables profiles. That is something new. We haven't shown notables profiles, or at least famous people. We can see this was the before for the profile of Conroy Vans, which is the father of the actor Courtney Bernard or Courtney B. Vans.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys know him, but he's
I
the
know
husband.
him because of the profiles of the week. There's a connection.
Yay! And he's the husband of Angela Bassett. I'm sure you know her.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is her father-in-law, right? Conroy Vans. And this was a makeover made by Asher. So thank you for joining this month's challenge. So this was the sad profile of Conroy Vans. So biography is just being father of actor Courtney B. Vans. That's all this guy.
One claim to fame. That's it.
That's it. And just one search from Gina. Do you call it Gina or Jenny?
Jeannie.
Jeannie. Oh, yes. I say Henny.
Henny, yes. Henny.
Yeah.
Henny
from genealogy. So now this is the after. This is the profile of Conroy Vans. Now he has a story to tell. He's the son of James Bernard Arrington and Ardilla Victoria Kendall. And now he's connected to 3 private siblings, which maybe surely they're alive, maybe because they're private. I don't know. I don't think so. They would be like, well, maybe 100 years.
Well, they'd be in their 90s. They'd be in their 90s, so they could be alive.
Yeah, 1930. Yeah, they could be alive, right?
I plan to be alive in my 90s still.
I hope you are. I hope you are. Hope you get there. And he's the father of Courtney B. Vans. Now we have proper stickers. Oh, sorry. This was something I was going to show after. It's a tip for everyone who's researching Irish ancestors. And sorry, back to Conroy Vans. Now we have stickers for him. He's a military veteran, so he really deserved this makeover. And he was raised by his guardian. This made me curious. I thought maybe his parents died when he was young, but no. But he had a guardian, John Cooper, and he lived with them through the census. You can tell they lived together.
They were in Chicago. Yeah.
Right. He served in the U.S. Air Force for 4 years. He married in 1955, and he died when he was only 57 years in 1990. So we have proper sources, a lot of sources now. So thank you, Asher, for this.
That's sensational, and I really like that background up at the top.
Yeah.
Yes. It's it's simple, but it really gives a touch.
Yeah.
This is the profile of Courtney B. Vans, in case you didn't know who he was. He also has a nice profile. It is project protected. And here's a better picture if you didn't know who he was. Our second profile makeover, because we have a second one, is made by our Australian project.
Yay!
This profile, it was made by Melanie. So thank you, Melanie. She's in the chat.
Oh, that's Ozzy, isn't it? Ozzy M is
That's
Melanie.
Ozzy,
Yes.
right?
I'm sorry, Melanie. I just call you Ozzy, but
Yeah, yeah, we're used to it.
and Amanda's joined us. I saw.
Yes, yes, they're both working on these notables profiles, and you may recognize this name if you don't know Dani. I don't know how to pronounce that. If you don't know Dani Mino, maybe you know her sister, Kylie Mino.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that name's
Okay, and this was so clever from Amanda. From Melanie.
Sorry.
Melanie didn't send me a before picture,
Oh.
but she sent this link from the web archive.
Ah.
So she has linked back to WikiTree? Is that
yeah.
I mean, yes, it's an older version of the profile.
If you look at the URL, it looks like the link goes to 2025-06-03, so June 3rd.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the version of June the 3rd.
Oh, right there.
This is
on the
the before, so it's a smart way to get the before picture.
Yes, yeah. So how clever.
That's
really
very cool.
So it's managed by the Australia project, and she's a notable, but there was no bio. We only knew that Danielle Jane Minogue was an Australian singer, television personality, and actress, and she was married to Julian McMahon, and we had links. But now we'll see the makeover of a project protected profile, and we have the profile of Dani Mino, and it looks amazing. Now it says that she's connected to Kylie Minogue, which is a profile that Amanda is working on. So maybe we can see that soon. And we love Kylie Minogue. I saw her live. She's amazing. Well, now we have a lot of sections. Look at this contents table.
Wow.
Birth and family, relationships, acting and singing, talent show, judge, comeback, LGBTQ plus association, and authorship. She's an author of 2 books. And we have sources and acknowledgements. So it's amazing. Look at this with her signature. She's also a fashion designer. This girl has done many, many things in her life. And this one, without intention, was related to the theme of the month, which is youth.
Yes.
Nice.
And even family, because Dani Mino comes from a family of artists. Also, her parents were artists. Her brother is also in show business. So it's related with family and the young theme related to June. Remember, June is related to family, childbirth, and marriage, and also youth. And she's a young artist. She became an artist when she was just 8. Wow. And she made her artistic debut in a show that was hosted by someone named Johnny Young, and it was called the Young Talent Time. So
there we go.
Coincidence, yes, it was related. So she acted, she sang, she played in theater. She's a talent show judge. She has worked with Simon Cowell. Maybe you know him. And here we have a photo with her sister Kylie. And it's an amazing profile. Look, we have quotes.
So wonderful. Thank you, Mel.
Yeah, it's beautiful and full of pictures. It looks great. So it's a great work from the Australia project. So congrats to the project coordinator and to Melanie Paul, who is team coordinator, if I recall this right. So, well, I'm looking forward to see Kylie's profile too. Great work. So thank you, Melanie, for sharing. Those were the profiles of the week. The makeovers.
Nice.
Excellent. And I'm showing two because we have a lot of work done to show.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
I love it.
Good stuff.
So back to you.
So, do you want to do the question of the week, or shall I?
Sure.
Okay,
go ahead. All right. Let me go along. And Greg, while I'm doing this, would you mind if you still have the email where I shared the file with you? I think I said start at 8 minutes and 30 seconds.
Right.
If you can tell me what that is. Otherwise, I think it's 8 minutes and 30 seconds. It's a nice
I think it's pretty close to that anyways.
Happy spot.
I will confirm that time.
Entire screen. All right. So our question of the week is, do you have a story of resilience in your family tree? Oh, wait a minute. And I want to show you the nice graphic we have up at the top. I love that AON always has a graphic. This little person.
Nice.
One of my favorite childhood books was the Little Train That Could, and it was on a little blue choo-choo train that said, "I think I can. I know I can." Yeah, that's what this makes me think of. And so we had some really inspirational stories here. M. Ross writes about how her dad had osteomyelitis. I highlighted that here because it made a little ping go off in my brain, and I had to look up in my notes to check. Yes, my grandfather had osteomyelitis. He was a doctor, and he had contracted it when he got a needle jab in surgery. So I know that it's a very treacherous disease. M's father had it pre-antibiotics. He spent a year in the hospital, had to learn to walk again. He had to wear a caliper through his right knee. And the caliper caused a finger-deep healed hole. When she was a child, I thought it was fascinating that I could stick my finger into the scar. So that is something to make it through that disease. Alexis wrote to us about her paternal grandmother, Pearl McCleary Lovelace, and we've gotten to know Alexis's paternal side, especially over time. She's dropped little nuggets here and there with this photo and that question of the week response, but it was really inspiring to see it, her grandmother's story all put together here. On Thanksgiving Day in 1901, she was 14. The house caught fire and they escaped. Everyone was safe, but they lost everything. Then her mother died, and Pearl took charge of raising her two younger brothers. And there's a photo down below. She 4 years later, she fell in love with someone, but her father needed her in the family. So when he moved from Illinois to Oklahoma, she left her love behind. She did marry, so a few years after that. But then that first husband was killed when a passenger train he was on collided with another train. So let's see. Then she married Alexis's grandfather, had Alexis's father, her younger brother. We were in World War I at that point. One of the younger brothers she raised was killed in action in France, just weeks before Alexis's father was born. But with so many of these stories that people were telling me, I got to something at the end that just totally just warmed my heart. So Alexis writes, after all of these tragedies, she cared for me while my mother worked. She kept a rooming house for people that had family in the large hospital across the street. She kept a smile on her face and sang hymns while I helped her make beds and cleaned rooms. She taught me at least 50 nursery rhymes, Bible verses, and several poems while we laughed and laughed. She was the sweetest lady and best role model anybody could ever have. So there she is.
Oh.
And that she says that the watch, this watch that she's wearing, what did she say about that? She said that's her mother's watch that she's wearing. She had lost her mother. Thank you for sharing, Alexis.
That's very nice.
Yeah,
Beautiful picture.
it is so special. Then we had a resilient ancestor from L. Harrington. And L, I think I'm getting the sense that L grew up in England, but I'm not completely sure. Anyway, his father's biological father was an alcoholic and abusive, sadly. And what eventually happened was that his grandmother sent the children away, and she got a divorce, and then she was able to remarry very happily, it sounds like. And so he was raised by his stepfather, who took care of the stepchildren like they were his own children. So there was a family business with a small hotel and cafe. So the family lived there and kept the hotel running. So his dad had been drafted for World War II. He was a radar mechanic in the service. But sometime during his service, a shell exploded near enough to the radar unit he was standing outside of that it ruptured both his eardrums. So he had to have a hearing aid in his 40s. So L writes, his dad made a conscious effort to not be like his biological father. If he got very angry, he'd leave the house. He would slam the door, but he'd leave the house. And he didn't dwell in the past. My sister described it as Dad put those bad memories in a box, taped it shut, and put it on a shelf at the back of the closet. So, yeah, that's a very difficult start to life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this story is a way earlier. I think this wins the prize for being the earliest story.
Wow.
Who is this from? Maryanne Hayes writes about her fourth great grandfather, born about 1768 in France to an aristocratic family. Now, I want you to really think about what I'm going to say next. As the story goes, at age 8, he was taken to sea by his uncle, who was commander of a French war vessel. And the idea was that, this was going to be John's career as well. So he would go along with his uncle and he'd become familiar with what he was going to do later in life.
Wow.
His uncle perished. It's not clear how. And eventually, John was found off the coast of England in an open boat with a servant, and presumably attempting to escape crossfire. He was adopted by some English people who got to England and to Woolwich specifically. And this family brought him up, apprenticed him to learn the shipbuilding business. And he died, of course, he was 8 when he left home. So he did have memories of his birth family. And so he described his birth mother as tall and stately, and that his birth father had a spacious wine cellar. But he had this new life in England. So he was thrifty, saved money. He worked his way up the positions in the dockyard. Now he intended to return to France to try and find his family. And he put advertisements in the paper, no news. So he decided he was just going to go. This made me smile. However, again, he was taken captive, this time by the charms of an exceptional English lady named Jane Smith. So he never made it to France. He married, and they had a good life in England. And Maryanne concludes, the moral of the story is that it was better for John to have lost his heart to an English beauty than to have lost his head to a French blade.
That's true. That's excellent. I love it.
Yeah. And then let's see. Giselle Cormier gave us this story of Acadian resilience.
Nice.
This is Marie Blanche LeBlanc, her second cousin 6 times removed, and she suffered. For those who don't know, and Greg can undoubtedly say way more than I can, but there were expulsions in Acadia where the English deported people. Am I explaining that well enough? Yeah. A lot of bitter history. Marie suffered 4 expulsions between 1755 and 1794. So first she went to South Carolina, then she was deported to France, across the Atlantic, and to Boston. Let's see, am I missing one?
Yeah, Prince Edward Island.
2 times to France. So
no, that was from there. Yeah.
Yeah, once more to France during the American Revolutionary War, and finally in 1794 she was exiled again from Saint-Pierre et Miquelon.
Saint-Pierre Miquelon. So when she was exiled to France, she wasn't actually gone. They didn't actually send her across the ocean. Saint-Pierre Miquelon are the 2 little islands just off the coast of Newfoundland. They're owned by France.
Because read this. Let me read this sentence. In time, she joined the Acadian. So she was deported to France once, and then in time it says.
So she did. They did take her back to the mainland France.
Yeah.
And then she
went back.
Right.
So Saint-Pierre-Miquelon is still part of France. So while she was in France, then it would be easy to get a boat.
Yes.
To go to Saint-Pierre.
So it was South Carolina, France, Boston.
Wow.
Yeah. So over 4 decades, Marie Blanche crossed the Atlantic multiple times, endured displacement, poverty, and loss, but never gave up. Her footsteps remind us that survival itself can be an act of resistance, and that even in exile, identity can endure.
Nice.
That's a story. Thank you, Giselle, for sharing that, and it's good history to know. Painful history.
Yeah.
It's inspiring.
I've been to Saint-Pierre-Miquelon, by the way.
Oh, okay.
I actually spent a month doing a French immersion course there, after grade 12. Yeah. It's very cool. Yeah. So then I actually took the family back for a visit 25 years later, and met the family that I had stayed with on the island. So that was kind of neat seeing.
Wow.
And that little 2-year-old kid who was a brat at the time was now this very large football player.
Nice.
Anyways, I just disrupted you there.
Oh no, it's because I have not been there, so
it's very cool.
Yeah,
their patisseries are very good. And
so now you're talking my language, Greg.
Yeah.
I will never turn down a good patisserie. So we have a few more to share. Joanne Harris writes about her second great-grandfather, William Augustus Joden, was 1 when his father committed suicide. And then at age 19, he was playing guns with a friend and accidentally shot and killed that friend. Later in life, he became a lay preacher, Sunday school superintendent, and was among the early settlers in Little River, Kansas. And then Robert Barb wrote about his grandfather, Lacy Johnson Barb, who went off to fight in the Civil War, the war between the states, to find that his wife had died, his home and business had burned, and his children were divided between the neighbors. He married the woman his first wife had picked for him when she realized she was dying. He worked briefly for others, then found a man who owed him money but had none, and accepted steep wooded mountain land for the debt. His oldest son died in a logging accident. Despite these setbacks, he lived to be 88 years old and was highly respected. So, I wonder what state that was in. I did look briefly at the profile, but I can't remember. And then let's see, I think just
interesting that he married the woman, like his first wife picked out. Okay, when I go, you're allowed to have this, or this is the one we'll take care of.
Well, I can't. Yeah, it sounded like she was terminal and she knew it.
She knew it. Yeah, I know.
So she knew she was dying, and I assume he retrieved his children.
I would hope so. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think. Yeah. So D Custard has a lot of nonagenarians in his family. 91, 98, 94.
Nice.
And his father, Captain Randall D Custard, fought in the Vietnam War and was involved in the raid on Son Tay Prison. He was co-pilot of Cherry 1 and MC-130E Combat Talon. And Cherry 1 flew at treetop level for treetop level for 1,000 miles. That's a long time.
Yeah.
To Son Tay prison camp and another 1,000 miles back to base. And his father received actually, I don't know. Their father received the Silver Star for his part in the operation. And then this last one is from Kim Turner. Kim writes that her second great-grandmother, Maryanne Hayes, married name Wright, was orphaned by the Irish potato famine. And then she was begging on the streets of Cork in 1847, placed in a workhouse, shipped to Australia in 1849 as part of the Earl Grey scheme to be a domestic. Her first husband died after just 5 years, and she had children from that marriage, including one child who was born 5 months after her husband died. She had to rely on the destitute board to feed her children. Then she had a second husband, but he died after 6 years in a mining accident. Left the state with her children when they became adults in 1886, died at 76. Not an easy life, however, she managed to have some peace in the later part of her life. And some descendants were inspired by her story and placed a plaque on her grave location since she died.
Oh, that's nice.
So I guess you can't have a story question of the week that asks about resilience without having some very tough stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
A lot of pain and suffering, but also hope and strength.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you, everyone, for sharing.
Yes.
Let's see. Going to, we have one ancestor to celebrate. I know we looked at Anne's paternal great uncle. I just wanted to skip back to Bonnie Day. Who posted, this one is not a celebration, it's a memorandum yesterday, yesterday when she wrote that. So June 4th was the anniversary of the passing of her adopted father, Richard Melvin Day. So I found Richard's profile, born July 3rd and died June 4th recently. We have a nice photo of him here. And Bonnie had some nice memories on the profile. She said he was a fantastic cook. They cooked together, and the first recipe that he taught her to make was chili. And her job when they made chili was she was on potato duty. So, that's very important.
Yeah.
And he also had an amazing voice. He sang in the Glee Club in high school, and they sang together a lot when she was young.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you, Bonnie. And he sounds like a wonderful man.
Nice.
Let's see. D, I hope D is still in the chat.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a well, let's see. I know we looked at these. And okay, we have a picture here. Can we see it? It looks like it's a screenshot of a YouTube clip.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
It
Someone
is.
playing piano, it looks like.
Yep, it's Anne's father, and Attilio Fiordalisi.
Yeah.
Yep, here playing his beloved Hammond organ. And I'm going to, so we see the picture. I am going to go smaller again so I can read the text. He plays by ear only. Started playing in high school, the piano, and he would play boogie woogie for them. And then he played for his friends, many parties and events. And then he heard Jimmy Smith, the great jazz Hammond B3 organ musician, play the organ, and he was hooked. He bought his own Hammond B3 organ, started listening to Jimmy's albums, and he'd listen a few times and then try and imitate. And that found other musical inspirations. Years later, he wrote the music with local Clevelander Duke Jenkins, jazz piano and organist, who he saw regularly in town. They wrote and did the lyrics to Life Each Day. And they made a 45 RPM. It's just for family distribution only. And she still has hers. Dad sadly died of cancer at age of 87. And he is now playing piano and Hammond B3 organ alongside some of the greatest piano and Hammond organists in heaven. And Anne, just in case you're wondering, did start on the piano. She played piano with lessons, and he taught her how to play his Hammond B3 organ. Everywhere he moved to, he would ship his Hammond B3 with him.
Nice.
So, thank you, Anne. Now, I would like Dee to please tell us about these guitars.
Wow.
Yeah, aren't they
nice?
Guitars. They're beautiful.
So, what is? And there are 2 photos of these guitars. There's
more.
Astounding collection. Dee, what's the story here?
Yeah, I'm wondering. Did she break it? My brother-in-law has lots of guitars. He had a garage band when he was growing up, and most of his are electric though. So, but he does have some acoustic.
Well, yeah, these look like a mix. I see an electric on the left, and then
30,
more electric.
35.
At least 35 they have.
Oh,
and they play all the time at home, she says.
Oh,
there.
Wow, thank you, Dee. Huh. Well, that's really something.
So they could have a family reunion and everyone would have their own instrument.
I know, right?
Oh, but the tuning. Can you imagine, Betsy, the tuning?
Well, nowadays you have those little clip-ons, where you just, you clip it onto the neck of the instrument and it automatically tells you, how to
really.
I mean, I'm still saying it's not easy, but anyway, easier than doing it all by your ear.
Oh my goodness, yeah. They use electric tuners. There we go. Okay.
Right.
So hopefully that would be fast. Now it's not automatic, right? It doesn't you don't clip it on and it just automatically.
Oh no, it doesn't do. But it tells you you're sharp.
It tells you when you're there. Okay.
And then you adjust the
right. Okay.
knob,
the string.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, on that note, I will try and play for you a little bit of this clip. Let me go to
it is 8:30. Yeah.
8:30.
Yeah.
I thought this was a good spot to listen.
Yes, that's a nice lead in. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm hearing static. That's good news, I think. Or no? Nope,
No,
still just static.
no sound, no video. Maybe you have to download that.
What was that?
Maybe you have to download it and then load it from your computer.
It didn't play back. No.
Oh, and I was over here. I was like,
yeah, I know you were dancing to it. But you know what? If you have it on your phone, maybe if you put it on your phone and then held that up, that would work.
Okay.
Oh, good idea.
Do some profiles and we'll dance over.
Yeah, okay. Of course, I just think of it now instead of thinking of it last week.
You know what? I forgot to show you something that they wanted to show. May I show it now?
Of course. Oh yeah,
really
you had
short,
didn't you? For Irish research.
Yes, for Irish research.
Tip of the week.
Yes. Well. Okay. Well, there we go. Well, I found this. I followed on Facebook the Genealogical Society of Ireland, and it turns out that the group of genealogists, or a group of genealogists, does a research Zoom advice for free on Zoom, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. their time. So this week, I woke up at 5:30 to be there on 6, which was my time. And they helped me. I told my story about my brick wall. They asked for some information, and I had very good feedback. And it helped me with my research because I made some advance from a brick wall. So, yes. So please, if you're interested, go to their Facebook. At least I found them on Facebook, Genealogical Society of Ireland, and every week they post this image where you can find the ID for the Zoom meeting and the passcode to enter. So that's a good tip, and very, very good tips. There were like 6 or 7 genealogists helping me. They were very happy to see a Chilean lady.
Yes.
First Chilean ever to ask for advice, of course.
Question, did they know about WikiTree?
You know what? I was so happy to find there was somebody else before me asking for advice.
Yeah.
And she was a WikiTreeer. And so she was all the time saying, yes, I have her on WikiTree, on his WikiTree profile. And that was Ola Murray. Maybe you have heard of her. Ola Murray?
Ola?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yes. Well, her name was
familiar.
It rang a bell for me.
Nice.
But she was a WikiTreeer, so it was really nice to see a fellow there with us.
Excellent.
So that's my tip. Find it on
Facebook.
Tip. Every week.
Wow. So the Facebook group, is it Genealogical Society of Ireland?
That's the official web page, or I mean Facebook page for them.
Okay. So if you just search for that.
Yes, and every week they post this reminder so you can join. There were 3 of us asking for advice, and I was there for an hour and a half connected with them.
Wow.
And maybe they kept on going.
Yeah.
So it's a really good chance to get help. And you know, Irish research is not easy.
No, it is not.
Oh, no, it's not.
So it's
all right. Should we try this one more time?
Yes, let's try it. You hear it.
Wow.
Very cool.
We hear marimbas?
Yeah. Well, we do have, very complete percussion section, including
Wow.
yeah.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it
So
sounded
this was
like
your
a
concert 2 weeks
salsa.
ago, right?
Yes, the concert on the 7th, right?
Mm.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes. Amazing. I wanted to see you.
Oh, I
Amazing.
know. Yeah. I think at some point we used to do CDs of the concerts
Ah.
and then they would be available for sales. And they've stopped doing those. I really think at some point the organization has to move towards YouTube and, and putting the concerts on YouTube. Because right now, I mean, I had to download a file and put it on my drive and, it's cumbersome. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, I should have thought of that last week.
Yeah.
It was just the heat of the moment. My brain just was frying. It just was not coming up with the problem solving like it should have. Oh well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're on to connection checkers, and this week, because we celebrated June. Well, I did. We don't have that as an official holiday in Canada. But Juneteenth was 2 days ago now.
Thursday. Yep.
Thursday, June 19th. The official declaration of the end of slavery, I believe, is the what we're commemorating. And so everything is about the Black Heroes connection checkers. And so here are the list of 12 people, and wondering who you're closest to. And for me, what's interesting is because my birth last name is Douglas. And that's the one I'm closest to, is Frederick Douglass.
Oh, me too. 16 degrees.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm checking mine.
Yeah. But not related. There's no genealogical, there's no direct connection between my Douglas and his Douglas. In fact, when we read his bio or his profile, the first thing I discovered, well, not the first thing, one of the things I discovered was that he picked Douglas because he was inspired by a poem, not because there was any actual family connection. So it would have been quite a coincidence if we actually were related genealogically, biologically.
And it's a Douglas with a double S? Yours is with a double S too?
Well, if you go back to Ireland, it is a double S. But at one point, my birth father only had a single S, and some of his uncles have double S's and some have single S's. I can't remember if my grandfather was a double or a single. Anyways, they're basically the same. It's just, again, it's spelling doesn't always count in genealogy. And if we look at the all degrees table, how they're connected to each other, it doesn't look like there's any of them that are super close to each other of this set of 12. Which is interesting because, some weeks you get somewhere, well, especially if the theme is like early American history, like the Puritans or those times, sometimes they're like only 5 steps away from each other. But that is not the case in this time.
Are either of you playing connection checkers?
I've had a busy week with the WikiTree challenge, so I did not get a chance to play.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'll check on it.
Yeah,
I've been getting really interesting results with different connections.
Yeah.
So I'll check on that.
I had, most of my connections, I think this is true for a lot of us, it'll go through one line, one grandparent, but I had one that went through my maternal grandmother in Gloucestershire, England. So I'm like, I'm going to Maya Angelou.
Nice.
I started doing that, and I was in South Gloucestershire, and I was it's cool because I'm like, I've been to that little village, and then they crossed on to Australia.
Really?
Yes, and I was really sort of puzzled by this one profile. It was a very late in life emigration, and so it was like, England. She died in Australia. I was like, what? And I looked into it a little more, and yes, she really did. And I have not researched in Australia at all. And so Melanie was very kind and helpful, giving me some advice a few nights ago.
Yay!
Well,
that's great.
Oh, that's interesting. Maya Angelou is my closest, so
Is
I
she?
will surely check on her.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's
That's
see.
great. So let's talk about Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey / Douglass. Part of U.S. Black history, which I believe almost all of them are this week. And I got to say, in general, all of these profiles were really well done. Now, a few of them are still living people, so some of them have really short ones because they're still living. But all the ones who have passed away or are notables, their profiles are amazing. So kudos again. I mean, to this amazing group members of the U.S. Black Heritage Project. They just do fantastic work. And if you're looking for a project to join, this is an amazingly worthy one to join. Lots of good stuff happening here. So Frederick Douglass, a renowned African-American social reformer, an orator, a writer, a statesman, born into slavery as Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey and Benice, before escaping to become a leader in the abolitionist movement. Best known work is his first autobiography. He wrote a book that was published in 1845, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave. So he started out in 1818. He was born into slavery in Talbot County, Maryland, and separated from his mother, Harriet Bailey. So that's where the initial last name Bailey came from, when he was an infant. She died when he was only 7 years old. He stated that he was told his father was a white man, perhaps his owner, Aaron Anthony. And I don't know, let's see, the father is unknown in this profile, so that's still an unknown thing. And I don't know if there are descendants and if anyone's doing DNA research to try and confirm or find that. Though 1818, that's pretty far back, so that would be difficult to do. Though if there are male descendants all the way down the line, it could possibly, why DNA research could at least point in the right direction and could rule out, the one thing the Y DNA research could do is could rule out people. So if we had male descendants of Aaron Anthony and male descendants of Frederick Douglass, those Y DNAs do not match, then we'd know that that's not true. If they do match, though, it leads some credence to that theory. Yeah. I digress. Sorry, how did I digress already? And we're only one paragraph into the first profile. Okay. But anyways, he had his first owner died in 1826, and then he was given to Lucretia and Thomas Auld. So that name, Thomas Auld, will come back. He was sent to serve Thomas's brother, which was briefly positive because when he was over there, Thomas's sister-in-law helped to teach him to read and write. And then when she stopped doing that, he wanted to continue his learning, so he would barter with people on the streets to learn more about and continue his education. So, he was determined to further his education, learning how to read and write. And 15, he was taken away to work for the slave breaker, Edward Covey. But he eventually fought back, and Covey stopped beating him. I mean, what a horrible life. Many of these profiles could fit into the category of resilience.
Resilience, yeah.
He tried to escape many times. Eventually, he went back to Thomas Auld. And this I found interesting. Later in Auld's life, Frederick visited his bedside to make sure that Thomas Auld knew that he was forgiven. So Frederick Douglass forgave Thomas Auld, who was his, at one point, slave, his owner, because it was the slavery that he abhorred, not the man himself. So he forgave the man. The act, of course, is abhorrent. But that's pretty big because that's huge. That takes. I can't imagine. That is that's really hard to imagine that type of, I don't know, it's not, empathy isn't the right word for it, but to be able to forgive someone for doing something. Anyways, he eventually escaped north, dressed in a sailor's uniform that was stitched by his fiancée. Isn't that nice? And she was a free Black woman, Anna Murray. They went through, the route they took is highlighted here in New York to Newport, Rhode Island, then to New Bedford, Massachusetts, and he was helped by others. He changes his surname to Douglas in honor of a Walter Scott poem. I don't know of that poem, but that's interesting. And they began their life together in freedom. They had 5 children, including 3 sons who actually served in the Civil War. Quickly became a favorite abolitionist and anti-slavery speaker. He traveled through the country and around the world to reveal the horrors of slavery. That peculiar institution, I guess that's a phrase that people used for it. Maybe in polite company, a euphemism for slavery. He used his personal experience to give a human face to the sufferings. Yeah. He also owned a print shop, and was also fighting segregation and cheered on when 4 of their little ones were able to go to the neighborhood school instead of having to walk past it. Okay. William Lloyd Garrison heard him do a speech and then helped promote that part of his speaking career and whatnot. So anyways, wonderful profile here, and great example of a resilient life and someone who did lots of good. Then we go on to Marguerite Ann Johnson Maya Angelou. An acclaimed American poet, memorist, and civil rights activist, authored number of items, including 7 autobiographies. Wow. I don't know. I should think, okay, I must be near the end of my life here. I'll do an auto, and then I live another 10 years. But she has such a wide and varied life that I can see why it would take 7 autobiographies to fill that. Several books of poetry, of course, essays, plays, movies, and television shows. Many awards and over 50 honorary degrees. Wow. She was born in 1928, second child of Bailey Johnson and Vivian Althea Baxter. Her older brother was the one who gave her the nickname Maya. Father was a doorman, Navy dietitian, and taxi driver. Her mother was a nurse and a card dealer, and apparently easily distracted by her pursuits. A trait which made her sometimes carry motherhood as a burden. According to Maya. And now I love how the people who put together this profile have sprinkled her quotes throughout it. They're just so neat.
That's nice.
Isn't that nice? And I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. That's so true, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've experienced this as well, Betsy, with teaching, when students will come up to you. And I mean, I taught math and computer science, and sometimes students will say, I'm not sure which, they won't remember which class I taught them, but remember that they liked me or something I did or whatever, So, and I'm pretty sure if I quiz them, they might not remember the specific math that I taught them. And I might still say, I never learned about fractions.
Isn't that would be a nightmare, having a former teacher come up and say, here, take this final that you put in.
I know, I would never do that. Yeah. Interesting. And now you'll appreciate this quote as well. Music was my refuge. I could crawl into the space between the notes and curl my back to loneliness. Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
A way to get away from all the things that are happening.
I was all talking and muted. But as Betsy, I'm also connected to her through Australia. So it's really.
I'll have to look at your pathway and see if it overlaps.
Yeah. anyways, it's wonderful, a wonderful profile here, and I could spend the rest of the time going through it, but I won't. But she had a variety of jobs in her life. Wow, I mean, a wide variety: fry cook, sex worker, nightclub dancer, singer, songwriter, cast member of a stage production of Porgy and Bess. That's amazing. Journalist, first female streetcar conductor.
Wow.
How cool is that?
No wonder she wrote 7 autobiographies.
I know. You couldn't fit all that in one volume.
Right, exactly.
And of course, that all contributed to her better known occupations. But that's even before we get to author, poet, speaker, professor, and actress.
Wow.
She worked in the civil rights, along with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Presumably she knew them and worked with them directly. Like, wow, what a life. Yeah. And another quote: everything in the universe has a rhythm. Everything dances. Love that. Yeah. Very cool. And there she is getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Barack Obama.
Yes, yes.
Very cool. Neat. Final quote: we delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty.
Yeah, she would know that.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting. Yeah. So thank you for suggesting her. Arthur Robert Ashe Jr., tennis player, an American professional tennis player who won 3 Grand Slam titles, was the first Black player selected for the United States Davis Cup team, and the first and so far only Black man to win the singles title at Wimbledon, the U.S. Open, and the Australian Open. He was also an activist and a humanitarian. So, a little side note here. I knew that Arthur Ashe was a tennis player because in my second year of teaching, I had a student in my grade 11 math class who never wrote his own name on the test papers when he handed them back. He always every week it was a different tennis player that he signed. There was John McEnroe and
funny.
And one was Arthur Ashe, and I don't follow tennis. So it never, and I knew it was him because I got to the end and there was a person who wasn't on my class list, but it was his test paper. And I would have if I had known tennis better, I would have been really surprised because he was not a Black man. He was not a Black student. So,
exactly.
It would be doubly out of order. But it wasn't until I read this profile that I realized he was part of Black history. I knew the name Arthur Ashe. I knew he was a tennis player, but until this week, this is the first time I actually. So there we go. Born in Richmond, Virginia, in 1943. His mother died when he was 6 years old. Again, resilience creeps up here. His father was a parks policeman, a caretaker, and he grew up in the caretaker's house in a segregated public park. He had 2 brothers and a sister, and his younger brother made a significant sacrifice during the Vietnam War to help Arthur's career. Interesting. He was a standout tennis player even as a teenager. He was with the support from Dr. Walter Whirlwind Johnson, mentored by who also mentored other young prodigies, including Althea Gibson, who I think we've highlighted in previous roundups. He was 5th ranked junior in the United States, received a full scholarship to UCLA, where he studied. He joined the U.S. Davis Cup team. And by the time he graduated, he was the most promising player in the world. In addition to becoming the first person on his father's side to complete college, he won the individual NCAA championship. He joined the U.S. Army after graduation, and then he continued to play tennis. Professional tennis titles include the U.S. Championship, the Australian Open, and the Wimbledon.
Wow.
Now, interesting here, he won the U.S. Open, but he was still an amateur. And at that point, the amateur meant that you didn't, as opposed to the professional designation, you couldn't get money from it, just like in the Olympics. If you're an amateur, you can't earn money from that.
Right.
So even though he won the prize, technically, because he was an amateur, he couldn't accept it. So they gave it to the person he defeated. They gave it to the loser. Like, that doesn't seem right.
That's not fair.
They should keep, if anything, they should take the prize and give it to a charity in his name or something.
Yeah.
The guy who lost. I mean, when it came to the final match, I mean, the guy said, the guy must have thought, well, it doesn't matter whether I win or lose. I'm going to get the money, right? The person.
I wouldn't feel good receiving that.
No, that's just boo, hiss. Anyway, they changed the rules. The rules began to change later that same year. Well, too little, too late is what I said. But anyways, with the Open era of tennis. Anyways, after winning Wimbledon, he was the #1 tennis player in the world. There we go. Sadly, he had a heart attack early, and he had to retire from tennis at the age of 36. That's that's a very early age to have a heart attack. But then he went on to become a humanitarian and activist. I think he was involved in South Africa political. Yeah, there it is. Fighting against apartheid and political change in South Africa. He was arrested for protesting outside the South African embassy at one point. He had a heart surgery, and unfortunately, during that surgery, he contracted HIV from blood transfusion. And related pneumonia is what killed him at the young age of 49, sadly. And he also got the Presidential Medal of Freedom, but sadly, that was posthumously. Moving on, Angela Bassett, the wife of the profile we just talked about, Vicky.
Yes.
One of the profiles. Yeah. Courtney Vans.
Conroy.
Right. Yeah. Courtney, actually.
Courtney.
Yeah. Courtney Vans. Yeah. And she is an award-winning television and film actress, director, producer. Many of her roles have portrayals of strong African-American women. Numerous awards. First African-American to win the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. Now, does it say which role that was? Was it Tina Turner? The role that she played Tina Turner in What's Love Got to Do With in '93. Yes, that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she also was in the movie about Malcolm X as his wife. Yeah. Great actress. And living today. Then we have Cornelis Gerhard Anton de Calm, born in Suriname in 1898, Paramaribo, colony Suriname, and passed away in the Netherlands, St. Rottenburg, Niedersachsen, Deutschland, in 1945. He was a resistance fighter in Suriname and an anti-colonialist author. He was arrested, and the protest against his arrest resulted in 2 deaths. He was exiled to the Netherlands, where he wrote a book, We Slaven van Suriname, We Slaves of Suriname, a classic anti-colonial book. He married Petronella Boersboom, and then he joined the resistance, of course, during World War II, was arrested, sent to concentration camps, where sadly he died. A Stolperstein was placed where he lived at Johannes Kampenhoefstraat, where in the Hague. And a Stolperstein, do any of you know what a Stolperstein is?
No.
Well, luckily, the Chrome browser has a lookup feature, which can I zoom in on that? Oh, you can't see. I can zoom in on the web page behind it, but I can't zoom in on this. That's stupid. That's interesting. Let me see. Okay. Let's do that again. Let's see if I can take a screenshot of that. There we go. And now let's see if I can open up that screenshot over here. There we go. A Stolperstein is a 10-centimeter concrete cube bearing a black brass plate inscribed with the name and life dates of the victims of Nazi extermination. So here's an example of it in the brick wall.
Great.
So, so there's one of those to commemorate his
in The Hague.
In The Hague, yeah. Medgar Wiley Evers was an American war veteran, civil rights activist, and NAACP's first field secretary in Mississippi. Unfortunately, he was assassinated in 1963 by a white supremacist. Born in Decatur County, Mississippi in 1925 to James Evers and his wife, Jessie M. Wright. His father worked on the railroad in the 1920s, then moved to farming by the 30s and was a sawmill worker by the 40s. Worked many different jobs to provide for his family. Medgar grew up in Decatur, living with his mom and dad, his 3 sisters, 3 brothers, 2 half-siblings from his mother's first marriage. He went to a segregated school, which meant he probably had to walk by the local neighborhood school, 12-mile walk every day until he received his high school diploma. That's crazy. Like that's a pretty long distance to walk. Not long after his high school graduation, he joined the Army, World War II, enlisted in the military, served for 2 years from 43 to 45, came home decorated combat veteran. He was a sergeant, survived the Battle of Normandy. There's his victory medal. Then he went to the Agricultural and Mechanical College when he got home, which was later named Elkhorn State University, and earned a degree in business admin. Married on Christmas Eve, 1951. And then they had 3 children together. Became an insurance salesman, a Freemason in the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite. That's interesting. Became active in the community, joined the NAACP and the Regional Council of Negro Leadership, becoming its president. And then the first field secretary in Mississippi. He was there when the U.S. struck down segregation in schools in 1954 and applied to the University of Mississippi Law School as a test case, but he was still denied due to his race. So began to organize some public events, boycotts, protests. He received, I think it said, up to 3 death threats, and then eventually was killed. 3 significant attempts on his life as he stood up for civil rights, and then ambushed in his own driveway. And shot once in the back. The bullet passed through his heart, and he was pronounced dead at the hospital. The man who shot him eventually was brought to justice, but not until, so that was in 1963, he was shot. He wasn't actually convicted until 1994, so 31 years later.
Well, justice was served.
Justice was served, but wait.
So long. Yeah.
Anyways, he died in prison, the murderer, in 2001. So
7 years.
7 years. No.
We have an interesting situation.
Yes.
We have Denise is connected through 7 degrees. I guess that's the lowest connection we have seen.
That is so close.
Are you related, Denise?
Are you related, Denise?
Is there
or
a
is
marriage,
there a marriage in between there? That is wild.
And also, D is 18 degrees to Medgar, but Denise is in the path.
Oh, how cool is that?
That's neat.
Cool. That is really neat, going through a fellow WikiTree.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh, there. My cousin married his son, says Denise.
Wow.
Cousin married his son. Okay.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we should have had Denise. Denise, you should have been a special guest on here, and you could have talked all about him. Oh. But if he died in 63, Denise might not have met him personally. Chance to say. But very cool. Then we have Alicia Keys, who's apparently a cousin. distant cousin. Born in the 80s, Grammy Award-winning singer, songwriter, record producer, pianist, and actor. Well, of course, with the last name of Keys, she plays the piano. Born in New York City in 1981. Her father is African-American. Her mother descends from Italian, Irish, and Scottish heritage.
Wow.
And she married someone named Swiss. Swiss Beats. Couple of 2 children. #1 hit Fallen. And she also she played Joan Bright in the film The Secret Life of Bees. And of course sang Santa Baby. Now, is she well, Betsy's just disappeared, but Santa Baby has been on for Christmas time, has been played fairly recently. Is it her version that is the most popular one? I wonder.
I don't think so.
You don't think it's hers? I don't know who the one that we hear most often.
Actually, I'm a fan of Christmas carols and everything, and I haven't listened to her version of it.
Ah, okay.
There are many others of Santa Baby.
Yeah, I think it's probably been recorded many times, right? Oh, Mariah Carey. Is that Mariah Carey who sings it?
No, that's not the most popular, and I don't think she sings this one.
Okay. Moving on to Willie O'Ree, Canadian here, part of Black history, and his claim to fame is being not only that he's Canadian and a Canadian hockey player, but he has been recognized as the first Black hockey player in the National Hockey League, the NHL. Born in 1935, youngest of 13 children, his grandparents came to Canada through the Underground Railroad to escape slavery in the United States. In 1955-56, the hockey season, he played for the Kitchener-Waterloo Canucks. I went to the University of Waterloo, so I'm very familiar with that area. A junior league hockey team. So that would be one of the teams, the juniors that the NHL people would draft and look at the players to figure out, I think we want him to move up to the NHL and that sort of stuff. Sadly, he got during one of those games, he got a puck to the eye. And lost 95% of his vision in that eye. So he didn't go blind, but he lost much of the vision. But he still kept playing, and played well enough to be taken on for the Boston Bruins, so part of the NHL, and played 2 games with them in 57-58, and then kept on playing for them in 43 games total in the 1960-61 season, and so. Breaking the black color barrier in the NHL, known as the Jackie Robinson of hockey. Jackie Robinson, of course, being famous as the first Black baseball player in National Baseball. So after his hockey career, he's a dedicated mentor to youth and continues to promote the game in communities across Canada and the United States. An ambassador for cultural diversity in NHL and director of youth development for the NHL. Lots of awards, including the Order of Canada and other awards here. Oh, and the Boston Bruins even retired his number. So very nice. And he is still alive, apparently. James Cleveland Owens, also known as Jesse Owens, also part of Black history. American track and field star, won 4 gold medals in the 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin, Germany. 100-meter dash, 200-meter dash, long jump, and the 4x100-meter relay. So I began setting track and field records in high school, and continued to do so. And of course, it's super impressive that he won 4 medals in 1936 Olympics, which were held in Berlin, as I said, and the Nazis had already taken over. So it was a clear, it was clearly disproved their ideas of Aryan supremacy, that obviously other races and other peoples could be strong and just as successful or more so. Right? Met his future wife in junior high, and they dated during high school and whatnot. Sadly, he died of lung cancer in 1980. And many awards and stuff. Then we have Lawrence Edward Roberts Sr., who Colonel Lawrence Edward Roberts Sr. Was highly decorated U.S. military pilot during World War II and subsequently served in the Air Force for a total of 32 years. He was one of the original Tuskegee Airmen, a famous group of airmen. There's a free space page there that you can see a little preview of that when I hovered over that. We're known for heroic combat service in support of the Allied forces in the European theater, and they served with the Expeditionary Operations Group and the 477th Bombardment Group, both largely black units of the United States Army Forces. Yeah. Born in 1922 in New Jersey. As a child, he dreamed of becoming a pilot and even used a sawed-off broom handle as his throttle.
Oh, wow.
How cool is that? As he pretended to fly. But it didn't seem very realistic to others, but he persisted and eventually did achieve his dream. Very cool. Oh. Went to Howard University, and then when the World War II broke out, he enlisted and went to the Tuskegee Institute, where he learned to be a pilot. He became a member of the Tuskegee Airmen. He retired from the Air Force in 1975 and continued to work for Global Associates and lived in the Gulf Coast. Died in 2004 in Biloxi, Mississippi. Denzel Washington, very distant cousin. Born in the 50s. I think he's 10 years older. Yes, born in 1954 in Mount Vernon, New York. Son of a Presbyterian minister and a beauty parlor owner.
That's right near where I grew up.
Is it?
Yeah, Mount Vernon is next town over.
Oh, neat.
Bigger than a town, small city.
Wow. Yeah. His parents divorced when he was 14, which is too bad. But then he went to, he was enrolled in a military academy, which he said was life-changing. I can imagine it would be life-changing. I'm not sure if that's that adjective can be a positive. Well, it could be a positive or negative. Well, obviously, there was a lot of positive there because he's turned out to do lots of great things. Went to Fordham University, double majored in drama and journalism. And then he had, of course, early roles. His first big TV role was Dr. Philip Chandler in St. Elsewhere. Loved that show. And then he's done lots of other stuff. Co-starred along with Morgan Freeman in Glory. And anyways, love great profile here. Leading man, great actor. And also has done lots of other helps out others in philanthropy and mentorship. Very impressive person. And the last one is Portia Mae White, another Canadian, who was a opera singer, actually. Canadian operatic contralto, the first Canadian Black concert singer to achieve international fame. So she was born in 1911 in Truro, Nova Scotia. Her parents were Reverend Captain William Andrew White, who was the son of a former slave from Virginia, and Isidora White, a descendant of Black loyalists. There was a very vibrant Black community who would escape through the Underground Railroad in Halifax, and Black loyalists as well. So she was a contralto. So contralto is the lowest female voice. So it's where you're probably familiar with soprano and alto, soprano being the high and alto being the lower one. Contralto would be even lower, a little bit lower than alto. So it's usually a dark, rich sounding voice.
I'm a contralto.
Yes.
Yeah, I am.
And probably contraltos can probably sing all the tenor parts as well, or many of the tenor parts in the choir if you needed that. But very rich voice. There was a quote here. She's a colored and beautifully shaded contralto. It's a natural voice, a gift from heaven. So it'd be lovely to hear that. She won a scholarship in 1939. In 1941, that she did her first public performance there, made her national debut in Toronto at the Eaton Auditorium. And then after 1944, she had difficulties obtaining bookings in Canada because of her race, but she got international debut as a singer and was more accepted, it looks like, over in Europe and Central and South America. She eventually she came back to Canada and became a teacher at Branksome Hall, which is a private girls' school in Toronto.
I know Branksome Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, my relatives went there.
Someone who went through Branksome Hall. Yeah, it's a lovely place.
So cool.
So how do you know Branksome Hall?
Some of my mother's cousins went there.
Ah.
Yeah, because remember I had the Niagara Falls
Yes.
connection. Yeah. Oh, neat.
Neat. Yeah. So she taught Lauren Green and Robert Goulet and then Dinah Christie. Very cool. One of her first major performances, public appearances, was for Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip in 1964. How cool is that? Sadly, she died just 4 years after that in 1968 from cancer. But there you have it. Who was that? Denise was asking if we can add audio files. Oopsie.
Yes.
To profiles. So, I mean, we can add links to anything under the suggestion, like under the C also. So if it was a link to a publicly available audio file, then sure. I mean, I guess it even doesn't have to be here. It could be embedded as part of the, like a link in the profile itself, right? The bio. So as long as that link is publicly available and we have the rights to it, right? That we should be able to, wouldn't you think, Betsy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's certainly in the case of musical artists, it would be a wonderful enhancement to bring. I mean, I think people do get away with it, get around it right now with a YouTube link, maybe. But yeah. I have a question that's related. I and others have uploaded PDFs, images, but I just realized those aren't visible, are they?
No, you just see the logo for PDF, right? Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. I realized that when I wanted to look, somebody had done a will trip transcription, and I wanted to look at it and nothing. So then I realized I have one of those too. I've got to change that.
Yeah.
Well, but it opens. It'll open in a different window.
The thumbnail for it, you can't see what it's actually going to be.
But
right?
Can you see the text, Vicky? The content?
You won't see the content right away. I mean, there's no preview for the PDF. You just see the icon.
Yes.
And if you click on it, it will open in probably a different tab.
Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, you can add that on the gallery.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I see that Judy has said that she's added links for YouTube. Yeah. I think adding YouTube links.
That's safe.
Yeah, that's definitely safe. And you're right. We can't embed the audio. Like we're not going to upload the audio. We just links to the audio or links to YouTube. Yeah. And then you can click on it and it can either pop up in a window or go straight. Yeah. That'll work. One of the things that's new this week is the content ranking on profiles. Yes. And so Chris has done a nice posting on that. So you'll go through and read that, see what you think. And anyways.
And now you can go to your watch list.
Yes.
And you in addition to sorting by name or birth year, you can sort by content rank so you know what needs work.
What needs attention. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. There is my watch list. Oh, and there. So if I just click on that.
Yep. You can do either feel good about yourself or get to work.
Or stress.
How come it's not? You said it's.
It should. That's what I understood is that you should be able to sort.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Oh, a lot of
look
10s.
at all those 10s.
Yay.
Yay.
Good work.
Oh, that's interesting. Those are ones I've done. These are all the Irish ones that I did for a friend. They were going over to Ireland.
Right.
Her parents were going over to Ireland, and so I did a bunch of research for them wow. I did good work for them, I guess.
Yeah, good boy.
Wow, that's nice. Oh, I love to see all those 10s. Now, I guess if I do this again, then I'll see all the ones that, look at those.
Well, you know what, Greg? As long as there are more 10s than 0.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. Those are ones I've done this week. Oops. For the week challenge. I better tidy those up before we get Diane here.
And just to keep everybody's stress level, manageable.
Yes.
You get to work after this live cast, and it will not update until like a week.
Right.
I think. Yeah, I think it's only once a week. So don't do a whole bunch of work on it. Well, I mean, do a whole bunch of work on the profile, but you won't see the CR change until give it a little time.
Right.
Yeah.
That probably change it. Like Alesh does the data dump on the weekend, right?
Right.
Starting Saturday, I think, and then it usually takes till Tuesday for things to ripple through. So that's probably the same cycle, I'm guessing. Every Tuesday. That's what Melanie said there. Yeah. The new ones update on Tuesday. There we go. So,
okay, thank you.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, so what else do we have? Lots of things. Black Heroes Connection. Yes, Connection, the Connectathon for July. You can now sign up for that. So please do so.
Oh, it's open. Okay.
It's open. You registered? It's time to register. And we just finished, as I mentioned, the reveal this Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, will be the reveal for Diane Southard's WikiTree Challenge. And next month's WikiTree Challenge will be for genealogist Catherine Wilson. So sign up to be part of that. Chris Ferriolo will be the team captain for that WikiTree Challenge coming up.
Nice.
And of course, what else is happening around WikiTree? Well, there's a bunch. The Alabama, wait a second, this is the 21st. There is, I don't think there's any others. Is there a Zoom meeting afterwards? No Zoom meeting afterwards after today. There is a new member Q&A right
tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow. Excellent. So do that. And there's the regular question of the week, 52 ancestors, that sort of thing. Link Builders Challenge, Zoom on the 24th, and German Stammtisch on the 25th coming up. And there are links handily right there to go to the Zooms directly or to watch the YouTube for the WikiTree Challenge next Thursday. And then, of course, we're back next Friday. And the social media post, same sort of thing, Q&A with Betsy and Murray in the group. One name studies this week will be Donovan. The place will be Asiago Veneto in Italy. Walk of Fame will feature Loretta Swit, whose original name was Fed. Interesting. Last name. And we're back. And all the regular other things.
Is there a tech talk this Monday?
No, the tech talk is on the last Monday, so that'll be the 30th. But
okay, got it.
But what I did do is
calendar this month is a little wonky with the way that the week.
Did it put the tech talk on Monday? No.
Well, it's usually
No, because next Monday is the 30th, right?
Right.
Like not the one 2 days from now. It's 9 days from now.
Right. Yes. Got it.
So I actually added, I just added an answer asking if anyone has anything specific they want me to talk about. Please, respond to this. Put a comment to here, and I'll add it to the list. I'm already sort of building the agenda out of what we're going to talk about, but we'd like to be responsive. It's a Zoom tech talk, so come and we'll answer your questions live. But if you give them to us in advance, we can actually do a little prep instead of just winging it. So I'm joined by lots of very knowledgeable people, and they can wing pretty well. So, and I think that's all I have to say about that.
Is this a record?
Oh no! Yikes!
Oh no! I feel like it was my fault. I talked a lot today.
Anyways, well, thank you for everyone who has persisted and have been resilient and stayed with us. I would say the 25 people who are still in the chat, that's a true measure of resilience. Right there. That's a good question. And Amanda, to answer your question, that I do not know. Is it possible to turn off the header on a G2G post? Normally I don't mind that, but I do notice that when I'm sharing the screen, that header takes up a good chunk of the real estate, especially like when I'm zoomed in so you can read it. So that is an excellent question.
For the tech talk.
For the tech talk. And I will see. It might be something we can add to the WBE, the WikiTree browser extension, which is I mean, for me, it's most helpful. I most need it when I am sharing my screen and blowing things up. So I don't know if I would need it on or off during regular usage when I'm off screen. We'll see. Anyway, thank you for sticking with us. Thank you as always to my co-hosts, Vicky and Betsy. I'm glad, Betsy, you got your tech troubles.
Yes, me too. A little nerve-wracking. Well, have a great weekend, everyone.
You have a great weekend.
And see you next week.
We'll see you around. See you next Thursday. See you next Saturday, and maybe see you Thursday for the review.
And tomorrow with Betsy.
Tomorrow for Betsy. Yeah, please join Betsy. Especially who was new? Who was just new to us? Willem?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, join Betsy tomorrow. That'll be fun.
Yeah, good idea.
See you around.
Bye everyone.